All right, so today we're going to talk about the battle, right? The quote unquote spiritual warfare that happens with manifesting. So, how do you battle doubt? How do you battle delay? And then, how do you battle distraction when you are trying to get the things that you want in your life? When you're trying to manifest, when you're waiting on the God within you to come through in your life, how do you handle these things? Okay, let me make sure that this is up and running. Okay, oh, here we go. So we're gonna start off with this quote. All right. Once you have asked for something, the ego wants evidence, the flesh wants proof, and the old you wants to stay in control. And this is where the war truly begins. There's this wilderness experience that you go through in the middle of when you ask and when you receive. There is this time where you're waiting and you're embodying who you want to be, and those thoughts creep up. You know, you've been trying to be positive and you've been thinking this way for X amount of time, but nothing has happened. What's going on, right? What is going on? What's up? What's up? Right? So there's all these ego things going on within you. Part of it is how you've been programmed to think. Part of it is just doubts. Part of it is just the walk of going through time. But we're going to talk about how to handle those things. And this was really inspired by a conversation I had with just a friend, not a client at all, just a friend last night about how to maintain faith. And it just turned into a good topic. So this is how we're going to start. Right, there is a war that begins not with swords, but with silence. The space between the asking and the arriving. It is here in the stillness after the prayer that the ego rises like a serpent, whispering timelines and counterfeit comforts. It says, take matters into your own hands. It questions what was promised in the spirit when no evidence appears in the flesh. This is not just waiting, it is warfare, where your higher self must wrestle the hunger of the old self, the part of you that craves proof more than peace and control more than surrender. And this is how a lot of us are brought up. This is how a lot of us are taught to be, is that we will constantly battle our desire to control situations, even though control in itself is an illusion, right? And that's not a verse. It's just something I wrote, right? It's not a verse at all. So the second part of this, all right? Desire is not the enemy, but when it is untempered by trust, it becomes a god unto itself, right? Desire is sacred. The thing that we talked about yesterday, the moment that you believe you're asking, you're really getting an answer. You think that you're asking, but before they ask, I will answer. So the moment that you are asking, you're really receiving an answer. It's showing you who you really are. You've been remembering yourself incorrectly. This is who you really are. This desire is sacred. Okay, so desire is not the enemy. It's the promise. It is the promised land. All right, but when it is untempered by trust, when we don't cultivate this trust, that's why we see a lot of people when they get into the manifesting space, they will get things, and then because they haven't cultivated that inner divine, all right, they can lose things. Okay? So when it's untempered by trust, it becomes a god unto itself. We begin to worship the thing instead of the divinity within us. All right? So in the quiet chambers of delay, temptation is dressed as urgency, and impatience masquerades as logic. Okay? Yet to manifest is to become. And becoming means death to the part of you that doubts divine timing. So you sit not passively, but powerfully, guarding the gates of your mind, declaring war on every thought that exalts itself above the truth of what you've already claimed. You are not just waiting, you are warring for your alignment. So when we talk about manifestation, we've been talking about it in a bunch of different ways, and today we're going to take a more spiritual warfare approach to this. Right? One of the comments that I received recently was, I've been doing all these things, but nothing has changed outside. We have to be very mindful of the story that we're telling as we're going through life. Nothing matters in the past. The past are just thoughts. It doesn't matter if you've been doing the affirmations, the rituals, all these things for a year, for 5 days straight. It doesn't matter. What are you aware of right now? What's the story that you're telling? Are you telling the story that because I have changed, reality must change? Because I am divine, reality must be divine? Or are you telling the story of, I've been doing all these things, but I don't see any change? Reality always conforms to our story. So if the story that I'm telling in the moment is I've been doing all these things, but I do not see change, then reality looks back at me, because reality is the all-seeing eye. Everyone out there is just the eye looking at me, trying to see, what do I believe? What do I expect? And they are saying yes. The God within you says yes to everything. This is unconditional love. Is that whatever you ask for, whatever you declare, thou shalt decree a thing to be. Thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be. Okay? Whatever we declare anything to be, this is what we receive. Okay? So if I say I've been doing all this work, but nothing's changing, reality says yes. We got you. Nothing is changing. Okay? So we have to be mindful of our story. You are telling a story in every moment, and you're confronting your story in every moment as well. So you are the storyteller. You are the author. You are the editor that sees reality show up in ways that you did not want it to be. And you edit it and change it, and then you confront yourself again. You are the reader. You are the author. You are the editor. You are all roles in the play, in the divine drama of your life. Okay? In the divine drama of your life. So, desire is not the enemy, but when it is untempered by trust, it becomes a God unto itself. We've talked about this in scripture in a bunch of different ways, right? Where when you have this desire, you have the moment where the desire is birthed. And then the moment that you accept that desire, because the desire is really the same as you receiving instructions from the Most High. This is what I want to experience through you. And so all of a sudden, this desire is outpictured from within you. And the path is illuminated, and you walk down the path to reveal that thing. Okay? But what happens along that path? The path is supposed to be a path of light, a path of seeing other things that you want to change. It's a path of fulfillment, of love, of bliss. It is you knowing that you are all that there is, creating this linear timeline so that you can walk through it and experience yourself, experience the unfolding of your desires from within you. But oftentimes we want to look at it in a different way. We want to look at it as the wilderness. So today we're going to talk about it like the wilderness. Okay? If you think about scripture, when Jesus, representing your I am awareness, okay, went and fasted in the wilderness for 40 days, 40 nights. Then it says he was confronted and tempted. The same way that you are confronted and tempted by your ego. Right? Don't look at the devil as this separate, scary entity. Let's look at the devil within you. The one that says, nah, shut up. You don't have faith. No, do it yourself. Right? No, you don't have to wait for anything. No. It's not unfolding. You've been being positive, but all these things don't look like they're changing. That is the devil that we need to confront. Not this mystical being, but the being within you, the being that's whispering in your ears. All right? This is the same story as the story of the Israelites leaving Egypt, right? The Most High sent Moses. Moses performed 7 miracles, went as far as killing the firstborn children of the Egyptians, and then said, I'm going to allow y'all to leave Egypt, but then I'm going to harden the Pharaoh's heart and he's going to chase after you. And so the Israelites left Egypt, and even though they saw all those miracles while they were in that quote unquote, this was really even before they got into the true wilderness, but when they were on the path out of Egypt, okay, they started saying, man, we should have stayed in slavery. This is how your ego, this is how that devil within you starts to talk to you. All right? And nothing's changing. It would have been better back then. We should have stayed back there, right? This is the story of Jacob in the wilderness before you saw Jacob's ladder, right? We have all of these examples of these quote unquote wilderness experiences where you have to have faith. We even went as far as talking about this from the perspective of Greek mythology. The story of, is it Odysseus? Damn, I forgot his name. Anyways, we did a long story of this gentleman that basically he was married and his wife was passed away. His wife was taken to the underworld, and he went and confronted Hades. His love was so strong that he went into the underworld and confronted Hades. And his love was so strong that Hades said, you know what, cool. Odysseus. No, is it Odysseus? Anyways, it might be. So his love was so strong that Hades said, you know what? You can leave out of the underworld with her on one condition. You cannot look back and see if she is with you. If you look back, she will be gone forever. But if you continue to walk and y'all make it out together, you can keep her. Okay? And so my dog starts walking, and of course, at first the journey is easy. As with any journey of faith, the beginning is always easy, right? This is what, quote unquote, Satan said to the Most High in the story of Job. He said, you know what, God, anybody can praise you and everything's going right. What about when you take everything from him? Right? What about when you take everything from him? So they're walking out in the underworld together. His woman is right behind him, right? At first, it's quiet, so he can hear her still. And then these voices come into his mind, reminiscent of the voices that we have in our mind that say, look, it's not working out. Why don't you just check and make sure everything is working out, right? And so he pushed it to the side and he kept walking. They got to the very edge of the underworld, and he could not take it anymore and turned back. Orpheus, that's who it is, Orpheus. They got to the very edge, and he turned back, and she was there the whole time. Even though he was doubting, she was there the whole time. And as soon as they locked eyes, she was taken away forever. Okay? This is a metaphor for our faith, for our manifestation, for the things that we go through, right? Even when you think of the story of Jesus in the wilderness, right? What happened after the 40 days that Satan came out and tempted him? One of the things Satan says was, you know what? If you're the Son of God, the angels will surely save you. Why don't you throw yourself off the side of the mountain? Just throw yourself out there and the angels will come and save you. And Jesus said, you do not test God. Now, what does this mean? Because we think of the test as you don't question God. But if you don't question, you cannot come up with knowledge, right? And the truth doesn't mind being questioned. The truth can always stand the test. What this means is, what would be testing the Most High? I've been praying for prosperity, not poverty. I've been praying for prosperity. And I'm going to take all the money I have left and I'm going to put it on one lottery ticket. Because surely God must rescue me, right? This is trying to take things in our own hands. This is leaning on that ego logic. You have been praying. It's been taking too long. Take it back in your hands. Surely your faith will pay off on this lottery ticket, which it rarely does. Okay, which it very, very rarely does. Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about. So manifesting as spiritual warfare, the battle after the ask. So 2 Corinthians 10:4, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, right? The true battle of life is not fought with physical weapons or worldly strategies, but through spiritual power given by the divine that flows through you, all right? So carnal, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. When we talk about carnal, it refers to anything rooted in the flesh, right? Ego, manipulation, fear, force, right? All those human things that we like to use, okay? Instead, we are armed with divine tools, faith, trust, and the word, our word. Okay, when we talk about the word, we're not talking about reading the word, right? When we're talking about the word, we're talking about your word. Thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be. Meaning you have the power. Life and death is in the tongue. You have the power to speak life or to speak death. This is why, okay? So we're going through and we're walking through life and we're seeing things unfold. We say we want prosperity. We're watching things unfold. And one of the things Jesus says is judge not by appearance, but judge in righteousness, right? What does that really mean? Let's break it down. What it truly means is that how could you possibly know how things are working out in front of you when you can only see 0.001% of matter? You can't even see all of matter. You can only see 0.001%. The rest of it is energy and information. The rest of it is constantly changing. It's always changing to get you to where you need to be. Right? Now, if we could never possibly tell what is really happening in front of us, right? Then how dare we say that things are not working out? This is the thing, this is the illusion, right? Is that you can never tell what's happening, but we've also been given the power of speech. Thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be, meaning whatever I say has to happen. If I say that it's working out for me, it is. If I say that it doesn't look like anything's working out, guess what? It's not. Because reality is just a reflection. It's not a test. You're not being tested. You are not being tested. Reality is just being a perfect mirror to you. It is just reflecting you back absolutely perfectly. And I was going to avoid this, but I'm going to have to go down this path. I got to go down this path in every single lecture. Verily, verily, I say unto you, okay, whatsoever you ask in the Father's name will be given to you. What is the Father's name? The Father's name is I am. Right? So anytime somebody asks you who you are, anytime you are trying to define who you are, okay, you are asking the Most High for something. Meaning, if I say that I'm prosperity, guess what? I am. If I say nothing's working out for me, guess what? I am. So anytime that I'm using a description of myself in a way that is not exalting the divinity within me, I'm using the Lord's name in vain. All right? So whatever you ask in the Father's name will be given to you. Not some of the things that you ask. Not only when you are in church. Not only when you are praying. Not only when you are doing certain things, but whatever you ask in the Father's name will be given to you. Right? So it's not that God is holding out for you. It's that God is being a perfect reflection. And we're just not mindful of all the things that we're asking for. Now let's take a step further. Okay, whatever I ask in the Father's name is I am. Okay? And we understand that the kingdom of God is everything. I'm the kingdom of God. You are the kingdom of God. This is the kingdom of God. That is the kingdom of God. His circumstance is the kingdom of God. Everything is, right? But the kingdom is within you. So everyone that you experience, everything that you experience is just reflecting you. It is all a projection from within you. You are your own personal universe. Okay? So you're walking through life experiencing yourself as the creator of yourself, as the creator of your experience. Let's put it like that. So it's not that when you describe somebody out there, you're actually describing somebody out there. You're describing something within you. Okay? So it's not just when you describe yourself, when you say I am about yourself, that you're describing God, that you're praying, that whatever you say you will receive. It's anytime you describe anything at all, that circumstance is within you. So it's not that you're talking about that circumstance, you're talking about yourself. That person is a projection of you. So you're not really talking about an individual person, you're talking about yourself. So anytime that I talk ill about myself, ill about the circumstance, ill about my fellow soul that's walking out here, right? I'm using God's name in vain. Okay? I am using God's name in vain. So it's interesting that we receive all of this information. On one hand, it says, you can't judge, right? Do not conform to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, right? So on one hand, we're told, don't conform to the world. Don't judge the world based on appearance. On another hand, we're told from a physics perspective that you can't see the world anyway. You can't tell what's really going on anyway. All you can see is 0.001% of matter. It would do you no good to try to judge the world as good or bad, because from your linear human third dimensional perspective, you don't know shit. But then on the other hand, it says, whatever you decree shall be. So they're given all these powerful tools. You're given these powerful thoughts, right? It doesn't matter what you see. You could never judge it. So you might as well just go through life, enjoy everything, and say everything is working out for you. This is basically what Scripture is saying over and over again. This is basically what physics is telling us. Nothing has a form. Nothing matters until consciousness takes a hold of it or perceives it. Nothing outside of you has meaning until you give it meaning. Life is meaningless. The world is meaningless outside of you. It's just a projection. It's a reflection of you. So if you don't know what it is, if you truly cannot perceive it, it's all just an illusion. It's all a projection from within you. Whatever you say it is, that's what it is. Then why the hell would you ever say anything is not working out? Why would you declare anything to be what you don't want it to be? Ladies, why would you look out there and say, all these men ain't shit? Why would you look out there and say, all these men just take advantage of me? Gentlemen, why would you look out there and say, all these women ain't shit? What benefit would that do to you? Right? Nothing has meaning, and everything is just conforming to your story. So what story are you telling? This is why two people can have the exact same experiences, but be in two completely different realities. You can go to the same club. One of them is flight by women, the other one isn't. One woman is treated so well in her relationships, the other one isn't. Matter of fact, one man can talk to 5 different women. Each of those women can get a different version of him. One woman can talk to 5 different men. All of those men can get a different version of her. Why is this? It's because these situations outside of you, these people outside of you, are truly meaningless until you give them meaning, until you give them a purpose based on your expectations. Everyone has to feel in the role, right, of whatever you give them. They have to play the role of your expectation. They have to. It's just law, right? Whether you're conscious of it or not, it's your story that's creating reality. Reality is not about what you see; it's about who you are. Nothing has meaning. Nothing has meaning until you give it meaning, right? So, Mark 11:24. Okay, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. Whatever you ask for, if you believe you receive it, it'll be yours. Whatever, not some of the shit, not a couple, not a few, right? Not if it's only a God desire, not an ego desire. What does that mean? Who are you to judge what's an ego desire and what's a divine desire? So a desire is the Most High wanting to know itself through you. The moment you have a desire, you're receiving an answer. That's the Most High telling you what He wants to experience. Now you're sitting here trying to judge what's an ego desire and what's a divine desire. Who told you that? Who can peek into the mind of the divine within you and tell you, no, that's an ego desire. You shouldn't want that. This is our holier than thou attitude. This is why we sit around and we try to judge all the time. Right? We judge the mistakes of others. We make long think pieces on this is why men shouldn't do this because of this mistake that this person did. And yet we will sit and judge the hell out of other people. We will sit, and even though we know circumstances are meaningless, the external world is meaningless, we will judge it as right or wrong. We've created an entire construct of morality that's based on a lot of things, based on where you're born. It's based on how you're raised. It's based on the money that you have. You have a different sense of morality when you have money and when you don't. You see certain religions as right and wrong, as better or worse based on where you were born. Right? Let's not act like we're just all moving fully off of this, individualized mind. We all have been programmed in a sense, and it pours out of us in our judgment, right? I don't think I don't think that anyone can get to a point where they're just judgment free, but it's definitely something that we have to watch within ourselves. We have to be cautious and be careful and be mindful. Okay, am I judging right now? Why am I judging this? Okay? So to manifest is not to merely desire. It is to declare war on every lesser version of yourself, okay? Every false belief and every quote unquote demonic delay, all right, that dares to stand between you and the vision God planted in your soul. Now, when I talk about demonic, I'm not talking about some monster, okay? When I'm talking about demonic, I'm talking about the thoughts within you. I'm talking about your thoughts of. This is what happens, right? You being God made incarnate, you always have a choice of what you want to experience next. When we start desiring things and we start doubting it and going back and forth and say, no, I don't think I can get it. I don't know if it's going to work out. What you're doing is you're creating the illusion like you don't have a choice. And you always have a choice. This is why, we say like wavering is wrong. It keeps you from getting what you want. It's because you're creating this false narrative that you can't choose. You're making that thing out there bigger than you. And that thing out there that you want is just coming from you. So it could never be larger than you. All right? So the moment you ask, the moment you truly ask, you awaken heaven. You awaken the heaven within you, the part of you that remembers your divine, and then you also stir up the hell within you. You stir up all of these limiting beliefs. And then what happens is the moment that you accept something to be true, I'm going to be prosperous, or whatever your desire is, it's projected out of you into reality. You walk down the path of it, and now you confront different things that are not in harmony with your end goal. And so now you have an opportunity just to confront them and change your belief. And as you change your belief and you make sure that you look at everything, not from a reactionary place, but from a knowing that it's all from you and it's all just trying to lead you to where you're trying to go. You just look at it with love, you change your belief, and it fades away. Everything is for you, and everything is more than for you, it's through you. Everything that you confront, it's not testing you, it's not trying to hurt you, it's just showing you who you are. This is why trying to suppress the things that we see, that doesn't work. When you try to suppress yourself, you just show up more strong. You just show up stronger the next time. All right? So you set off a chain reaction in the unseen. All right, but many don't realize the greater battle begins not in the asking, but in the waiting. The temptation to doubt, the pull toward distraction, the subtle whisper of it's not working. Right? This is spiritual warfare, not fought with fist, but with faith. All right? So one of the quotes from the Gospel of Mary, right? Where the mind is, there is the treasure. Okay? So the soul said, I saw the Lord. And I said to him, Lord, I saw you in a vision. And he answered and said to me, blessed are you for not wavering at the sight of me. Blessed are you for not wavering at the sight of me. Okay, and then Matthew 4, 1-3. I already talked about this a little bit. But then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And after fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. He was tired. He was getting weary, the same way that we do, right? And then the tempter came. This is what happens, right? You're walking through with all of this faith. You just started this journey. You're like, oh, I'm going to change my life. And you embody prosperity and you start walking through. And for the first couple of days, you're strong. Maybe the first couple of hours, you're strong, and then you get tired. And then your consciousness lowers. And you put that veil over your eyes. When you're lowering your consciousness, it's like you're lowering the veil back over your eyes. And this is when the tempter comes in. This is when those thoughts start to poke at you. Just go back to how you used to be. Shit's not changing. Right? Why don't you take things into your own hands and just force it like you always do? Right? So it's about who you are going to be in those moments. Who are you going to be? Right? In those moments. This is why consciousness is key. You put up your consciousness so you can lift that veil. And when your consciousness falls, it's like you're walking back in that veil of deception, that veil of illusion. Right? The only person that can stop the promises from flowing into your life is you. It's your doubt. Okay? It's your fear. It's your refusal to walk with faith. It's your refusal to confront yourself. It's going back to the comfort of who you used to be. But you don't want that life. That's why you jumped on this path in the first place. See, that life wasn't for you. That life of lack, that life of loss, it wasn't for you. All right? And it's not for you. All right? So the ask is a sacred declaration. Every genuine ask is a summons. It's a trumpet sounded in the spiritual realm. You're not simply requesting. You are summoning your destiny. You are saying, let there be. This is the word that you're saying, right? In the beginning was the word. All right? In the beginning of your desire is the word. That desire shows up. And the moment you accept that desire, it's as if you are saying, let there be prosperity in my life. And then the prosperity begins unfolding immediately. Okay? Just as the Creator once said, you are co-creating with the divine. But once you've asked, right, the ego wants evidence. The flesh wants proof. The old you wants to stay in control. And this is where the war truly begins. Okay? So between the ask and the arrival lies the wilderness, a space where your character is tested and your faith is refined. You will meet three spirits here. Number one, you're going to meet the spirit of doubt, who asks, did God really say that? Are you sure you don't need to clarify this with the God within you, right? Clarifying, thinking that you have to clarify to God is an illusion. This comes from that illusion of separation, thinking that God is some being out there. When God is closer than your thoughts, closer than your breath, God is within you. You don't have to clarify because God is the one who gave you the thought in the first place, gave you the desire in the first place. You are within God the same way that God is within you. You are inseparable. You are inseparable. You are one in the same. All right? Number two is the spirit of distraction, who dangles counterfeit comforts. Counterfeit comforts, that spirit of distraction, right? We all know it. We all know that spirit of distraction, all right? And then the spirit of delay, who dares you to give up just before the breakthrough, right? You've been doing so good, right? You've been doing so good. You've been focused in, moving forward. Then all of a sudden, it's been taking a little long. And now you could go back to that old version of you. That's that spirit of delay, all right? So who are you going to be when you confront these three things, which are just you, right? These aren't external forces. These aren't meant to make you think of something outside of you, right? Something that's trying to pull you down. These are things within you. The spiritual battle is within you. It's always you versus you. There's nothing out there. You are literally a dreamer in a void who is dreaming this reality, who is dreaming the rules. And every moment you're just confronting the story you told in the last moment. This moment you're telling the story of how everything is. And the next moment you're confronting it. All these things, the doubt, the distraction, the delay, these are things that you have maintained your entire life. And so now is the time to confront them. Now is the time to confront them. So remember, delay is not denial. Delay is not denial, okay? Sometimes, right? Actually, I want to remove this part. I don't really believe that. All right? If you'll keep walking when there's no confirmation, right? If you'll worship before the walls fall down, all right? Then you will always receive what you want. Okay? So letting go, the weapon of surrender. Now, here's the paradox, all right? After you've asked with, this is actually a very interesting point. I think this will help. This is something that I thought about earlier today, right? So now here's the paradox. After you've asked with boldness, you must now surrender with even greater power. Letting go is not weakness. Letting go is the highest form of trust. Okay, it says, I don't need to see it yet to believe it now. I release the need to control because I know who holds it all. Now, very interesting thing, if you ever study Neville Goddard, one of the things that he did with the group that he met with is that he would have them go to sleep at night imagining that they were climbing a ladder. And then during the day when they woke up, they would say that they were not going to climb a ladder. Say, I don't care what the hell happens, I'm not going to climb a ladder. And they would affirm that they're not going to climb a ladder. All right? And eventually they would all end up just randomly climbing a ladder. The interesting thing about this is because a lot of people are like, okay, why would you be speaking against your affirmation? The interesting thing about this is what the I am not going to climb a ladder is. It's an exercise of detachment and letting go. Okay? You've already given your mind the blueprint of what you want. The moment that you gave them the blueprint of I want prosperity, it's going. It's going there, right? It's going to do that. Now, have you ever really thought and studied how you've attracted other things in your life? Okay? What would saying I am not going to have prosperity really do for you? It would be like you are in a terrible situation financially and you've been trying to manifest prosperity. You think about prosperity, but more than you think about it, you are thinking about the lack that you're in. All right? You're thinking about the lack. Well, actually, let me give a different example. All right? Your brain does not really comprehend the word not. It simply comprehends the direction that you put your imagination in. So even at times where you're saying, I do not want to do this, you're taking your mind to the image of doing it. Your brain's not really comprehending the not part. It's just creating what you want. It's creating what you envision. This is why your inner vision is so important. This is why it's very, very, very important to stay mindful and understand that the things that you are imagining are the things that you are giving instructions to go get. This is why, right? If you are asking for prosperity, but you're constantly focused on the account right now that's empty, you're just creating that account over and over and over again. All right? This is what living in the end means. It means being hyper-focused and not thinking against the actual vision of what you want. So if the vision of what you want is, let's say, $10K, $10,000 in your account, right? Even when you look in your account and you see 52 cents, in your mind, you have to see 10K. It doesn't matter if you say, I do not see 52 cents. You are still imagining 52 cents. Okay, think of your mind as a positive loop, right? Think of it as constantly spitting out what is positive to you, what you're positively focused on. Right? So this is why it doesn't really help you to fight against any kind of circumstance. You perceive that circumstance, you accept it, and then you make the story that this is not what I want. I just want to go into a different route. I just want to go in a different route. Fighting against things is the same as affirming for them. This is why a lot of people, they'll get into this space and they'll say, you know what, I've been doing all these things, but I don't see anything changing. Things just still aren't working out, right? Okay, are you loving and accepting everything that shows up as a miracle, looking at it for what it is, all right? And then actually creating the image of what you want and then holding on to the image of what you want and knowing that that is what's now being created? Or are you a double-minded man? In one hand, you have the image of what you want, but on the other hand, you're just constantly focused on this thing that you don't want, fighting against it, all right? So we have to be very, very careful of the things that we are focusing on. But if you really think about this Neville Goddard experiment, right? One of the reasons why saying, I do not want to climb the ladder, and you still will end up climbing it, it's just a exercise in detachment. Let's say that right now you're really focused on money. Let's go back to the 10K idea. In your mind, you just are really focused on 10K. What if you started saying, you know what? All right, I imagine the 10K, I'm going to get it. And then in order to detach, you say, you know what? I don't really care if I get the 10K or not. Don't really care. It might sound like you're speaking against it. No, you're not speaking against it unless you go back to just thinking about $0. But even in the I don't really care about this, it's a letting go. And even while you're saying you don't want it, you're still thinking about the 10K. All right? So things show up in your life just based on what you're focused on, based on your expectations. Think of what you're focused on as your expectation. Right. Okay. Well, that's something that we could get into a little bit more detail about, but I might circle back at that one on the end. All right, so letting go is not weakness. Letting go is the highest form of trust. Okay, it says, I don't need to see it yet to believe it now. I release the need to control because I know who holds it all. Okay, this is the art of divine detachment. You don't walk away from the vision. You walk in the direction of it without grasping. Okay, you don't force. You just flow. You just flow. Okay, you don't panic. You prepare. Okay, so part 4, the miraculous unfolding. Okay, heaven honors the rested heart. Okay, heaven honors the rested heart. When the soul is still, heaven speaks louder. When the soul is still, heaven speaks louder. This is why meditation is important. You can hear that still voice within you. Okay? But when your heart is unclenched, the blessing has room to actually land. Be still and know that I am God. What does that mean? right? Stop trying to force shit, fighting against everything, man. Accept who you are as truth and allow everything to be added onto you. Okay? Miracles are not born from striving. They're just born from alignment. Right? Your power lies in your peace. So every time you rest in trust, you strike down another lie. Okay? Every time you walk like it's already done, you disarm fear. All right, so a couple reflection questions before the end. Okay, so reflection question number 1, what lies have I believed about delay that are stilling my faith? What are some of the lies that you've believed about faith that are stilling, or about delay that are stilling your faith? Do you think delay is denial? Do you think delay is a no? Do you think delay means you're not heard or not seen? Do you believe that delay is an opportunity for you to try harder? Okay. Or do you understand that delay is just the divine unfolding of your desires from within you? Okay. Number 2, am I trying to control the outcome, or have I truly surrendered it to God? Are you trying to control how everything's unfolding, or have you actually surrendered? Okay. What would you do today if you believed it was already done? If you knew that everything that you wanted was already good, it was already on its way, would you do the same things that you have planned on doing today? Or would you do something different? Maybe it's time to step into that faith. Maybe it's time to actually embody who you would be if you had faith. Maybe that's what's actually keeping you from having the thing that you want. Okay. Number 4, where is doubt disguising itself as quote unquote realism in my life? Isn't that interesting when we think, when people say, okay, be realistic, we think of negativity. We think negativity. When people say, be realistic, we say, okay, let me just think of the worst case scenario. All right. Number 5, can I honor the space between the ask and the arrival as sacred? Can I really start to look at the space that I'm in right now as sacred? What you'll really realize is really when you break that down, your entire life is going to be a game of being in this space. Your entire life is going to be a game of being in this space. Okay? You're going to make a decree, and then you're going to walk through life, and you are going to experience the unfolding of that desire. That unfolding of the desire is not supposed to be torture. It's supposed to be enlightened. It's supposed to be sacred. It's supposed to be rest. It's supposed to be you confronting other beliefs and thoughts about yourself. But the ask only takes a moment, and the receiving only takes a moment. So what is the rest of your life about? Are you hyper fixated on that one moment that is already promised to come? Or are you actually enjoying your life? Are you looking at your life and enjoying the miracle that you're living within? Right? It'll be very difficult to truly cherish the space in between the ask and the receiving as sacred if you don't have other things to do, if you don't have other hobbies, if you're not with your family, if you're not, doing things that make you feel like you're expanding, and you're just hyper fixated on this one thing. Right? But a large part of receiving these things is practicing our faith. It's getting to a point where we can relax in the unfolding of life. And not just focus on one thing, but remember and realize that everything is the blessing. Everything is a miracle. Okay? So in conclusion, right, walk like it's already done. Okay? To manifest is to battle. It's to battle with yourself. To let go is to trust that the victory is already written. You are not just calling in a result, you are stepping into your divine identity. Okay, so ask boldly, fight with your faith, let go with power, and walk like it's already done. Okay, because it is. Right? Because it is. Yeah, and I feel you, man. That the doubts, right? The doubt is difficult to overcome. But what you'll also realize is one of the things that I work with clients is focusing on the overall experience of life. You know, everybody comes in because they have one thing that they want, right? But we turn it into a holistic experience with it, which actually helps you get to what you want. Is the faith difficult? Is the fighting doubt difficult because you're only trying to create one thing in your life? Or have you become mindful that every moment is a creation? That you can create what kind of drive you're gonna have to work. You can create what kind of day you're gonna have at work. You can create what kind of meeting you're gonna have, what kind of conversation you're going to have, what kind of experience you're gonna have at the bar, at the movies, right? And when you start taking your life moment by moment like this, number one, you immerse yourself into life for real. You really start seeing the miracle that you are. You start gaining more confidence in your power, which allows you to truly relax and doubt less. All right? You start to realize the difference between just a normal doubt that you overcome. It doesn't really matter if I have this normal doubt, things still unfold, versus when I do this, right? This is one of the things, when we have this one big thing, quote unquote, we make it big, right? Because there's really nothing that's big, but in our mind it's big. It's important to us. No bad, yo, it's been a day, right? So in our mind, we have something that's important to us. And so we're walking down the path of getting to that thing, and we're constantly questioning ourselves. Am I doing this right? Do I need to do this other technique? Do I need to let go more? Do I need to work more? Do I need to, right? And so we're constantly switching up in the middle and always questioning ourselves. But if you had that constant proof based on small things that you were creating every day, you would have much more confidence in knowing that, yes, whatever you're doing is already working. And right now you are just in that sacred Sabbath where your only job is just to enjoy the unfolding and choose other things that you want. But I get it, man. Doubt is difficult. Doubt is difficult. It's a human construct, of course, because there is no doubt in your soul because you are an aspect of the divine. Right? Why would God doubt anything when God is everything? Why would you doubt anything when God is within you, when you are God, when you are everything? Why would you doubt anything, right? But it's our natural human part of us, right? Because we've been so unconscious for so long that we haven't realized that everything around us has been our creation. We haven't really been studying how we've been doing things. So, we get to these big things in our life and we come in this space, and when things take a while, or quote unquote a while to unfold, even though they're already there, when things start looking like they're taking a lot of time to unfold, the doubt can creep in. So my advice would always be, start focusing on your life in segments. All right. I really got that idea from Abraham Hicks. He talks about segment, I think he calls it segment intending or segment intention. I think it's segment intending, where it's like break your life into segments. You always have lots of segments in a day. You can have 8, 9, 10, 20 segments in a day. What kind of workout are you going to have? Even before you go to sleep, determine how you're going to wake up. How are you going to sleep? All right, now you wake up. How's your workout going to be? To create that, all right, now go through it. Now, how is this shower and the breakfast and your smoothie that you make, how's that all going to be? And how is your drive to work going to be? And how's your first half of work before lunch going to be? And now you start decreeing what you want to happen. How do you want people to treat you? And now you take your life moment by moment. You start really realizing how powerful you are. And it makes you just more present. It's very, 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 very powerful technique. Just to start looking at your life in these little segments. Instead of thinking about things in terms of months and years, think about them in terms of hours, minutes, moments, right? So hopefully that helps. But yeah, doubt is common. Right? Doubt is common. Yeah, it definitely feels amazing when you think of the segments, for sure. For sure. For sure. All right, y'all, I'm gonna end this one here. I'll probably jump on later on this evening, but gotta jump off quickly today. But hopefully this helped, just talking about things from a different perspective, because when you are going through life, it's never you versus anyone else. It's not you versus the circumstance. It's not you versus that person, you versus the job. It's always you versus you. Everything outside of you has been created by you. It's all unfolding from within you. So there is nothing to change but self. There is no one to confront but self. Okay? No one to confront but self. So to end this with a couple affirmations, I see you all as beautiful, as divine, as perfect, as in alignment with everything that you want. Everything is unfolding perfectly from within you. You already have it. You just have to walk in faith and knowing that everything is unfolding, and you have to enjoy your life every step of the way there, because every moment you're being presented with new things around you that are showing you who you are. It's showing you what your beliefs are. Okay, not really who you are, but what your beliefs are. Right? And based on those beliefs, if you want more, you keep those beliefs. If not, you change those beliefs. But you are the creator. You are the divine. And everything is working out for you. Y'all stay prosperous. Y'all stay perfect. And until next time, man, y'all have a blessed afternoon. Peace out.